Welcome to Raw and the run-up to Saturday night's main event this Saturday. The PLE's coming thick and fast at this point of the season. And, well, following up immediately from last time out's main event here on Raw, the now detitled Lyra Valkyria looking to exact something. What she aims to achieve here, mostly just venting frustration, I imagine, at the surprise ringside contributor to her match with Roxanne Perez, which led to Roxanne Perez taking that title off her. So, Lyra here challenging Liv to a match as the very much surprised Judgment Day alliance was formally revealed. And now, Judgment Day have not one, but two titles amongst their ranks, technically three members with titles, because those two tag team champions, Dom is lurking in the background somewhat awkwardly. I thought this might work the other way around, actually, when I put Dom and Liv and Raquel as ringside managers for her. I thought it would supersede the Judgment Day with Dom rather than Raquel, which is odd. I'm not going to lie, I'll break immersion for that one. Still annoying that they come out with default Titantrons. I'll see if I can fix that, maybe. But Liv quickly getting to work on Lyra, but Lyra equally quick to push her off again. Off the ropes, does manages to collect Lyra. I thought she was going to miss, frankly, but works it out. Gets the spinning kick off, though, in as a countermeasure. Nobody home for that, and Liv can get a measure of control back. She's just held her out of the ring, and seemingly just stalking her prey at this point. Slides under to follow her out. Lyra manages to catch her and sneaks back in. Not going anywhere near a count out for that one, thankfully. Had too many worrisome close calls on that front of late. And Liv, well, kind of almost bizarrely, Liv primed and ready for one of, I was about to say one of Dom's moves, one of Dom's stolen moves there, the 619. But obviously that's not in Lyra's repertoire. Has her a sneaky roll up. Doesn't get it. Off the ropes. Two big boots. And Liv in the ascendancy once again. Applying more. Well, countered with a big knee. Well, I was about to say triple choke slam, but the third wasn't. And she's got hold of, interesting. I'm just going to call that out for what it is. Genuinely never seen that cut camera on any move other than a suicide dive up to this point, so that one caught me a little bit off guard. Like, I know it's a possibility, but genuinely only ever seen suicide dives being cut into there. Hey, Dom's on the ropes. Goes for the code breaker. Does Liv, but I think Dom's just removed a turnbuckle. I'm sure the ref maybe eventually at some point might notice. That was just a normal crossbody splash there, I think, but it wasn't a frog. Again, out of Dom's repertoire perhaps, but into the ring. Ref still not noticed the missing turnbuckle, which is a little bit unusual. Working the leg of Lyra Valkyria. Lyra had a match where her opponent, I think it was Ivy Nile, worked the leg. Lyra still came out on the top of that one. Refs finally noticed the missing turnbuckle, just as Lyra's actually got control of this match. Liv breaks out of the submission regardless anyway. It's not like the ref missed that. And once again, getting a little bit closer on the action there. It's a little bit unconventional from Lyra, but we'll take it. Oh, goes for the springboard and the pin now. In retaliation, nobody home. I genuinely don't know what's different about this match and why we're getting more camera cuts. I have changed nothing since the last episode. Lyra getting fired up, though. Takes her outside the ring and to the top rope. Perhaps just live a little bit in the way for that. It's actually Lyra with the frog splash. Raquel's turn to take a turnbuckle off. Lyra going twice, but countering. And, well, the referee's just missing a slugfest here. Judgment Day's interventions here coming to absolutely naught. Yeah, when I mentioned this last time because it was genuinely the first time in, 9 episodes when a manager's distraction actually paid off. It might have been the episode before when a pin count effectively went to 12 because the referee was distracted. Yeah, AI versus AI, absolute potluck, really. And again, a slugfest ends in a draw. Did ask last time if anyone's actually seen that come through. Oh! Goes for the cover again. And that's enough. Seeing the main moves again? Okay, okay, I'm going to talk over this because I've had replays on the entire time we've played this MyUniverse, and I've not seen it once. I'm wondering if something in the recent patch. I haven't paid attention to the full patch notes. I know they fixed a couple of things, and I was going to talk about them. Mostly with the PLEs and adding Saturday Night's main event just in time. Thank you for that, by the way. But I'm wondering if there was something bugged with some of the settings in MyUniverse not actually following through. Because we saw a lot of camera cuts in that. And we're seeing the replays, which have been on the entire time I've done MyUniverse. But Liv the victor. Dom, very placid on the outside there. As is Raquel. It's so stupid, they should be in the ring with her. After knocking off both Liv and Raquel Rodriguez in separate matches, Bayley takes the ring effectively to set out her own goals. A little bit absent in title pictures of late. Perhaps we'll get a better idea. And the answer is, having seen Roxanne put away Lyra and Valkyria last week, thanks partly to Liv Morgan's distraction, she's targeting Roxanne's Intercontinental Championship, something that Bayley's never won before, of course, because it's brand new. And also to settle a long-standing feud with Roxanne at this point. It's been bubbling since the beginning of the year. We'll see where this one goes. As the American Maid... Actually, I've got a question about American Maid. Why did Paul Heyman come out to the American Maid music on Raw last week? Well, this week, as a point of recording, but last week as a point of this going up. Us Netflix lot, international audience don't get the adverts. So we see everything that happens in the ad breaks before they cut them out later on, if we're catching up nice and early. Paul Heyman came out to the American Made music. I presume it's just like the closest thing to American Dream or whatever. I don't know. But Chad Gable, master of the wrong place, wrong time, as his opponent here, to fill you in on what happened on last week's Raw as well. Last week, Maxine Dupree put down Ivy Nile, in part to adding to her repertoire with Jimmy Uso's super kick. Chad Gable hunted down Jimmy Uso, who is now effectively mentoring the Alpha Academy, at the very least looking after them. Unfortunately, he found Jimmy Uso's new tag partner, or most recent tag partner, shall we say, whether they're a formalised team yet to be seen. Braun Strowman, and to absolutely nobody's surprise, annoyed Braun Strowman. I'm not 100% certain, but it genuinely sounds like the crowd was shouting, "Get his ass." Probably not what they were saying, but Chad Gable with remarkable strength from the off there. We'll see if he can manage that a second time. No. Also, whether or not my usernames in the top right seems to be completely random. It disappears for some, and then is back in others. I'm not bothered because it happens to be also the channel username. But, oh God, Chad Gable is an athletic individual. But by God, when he's in a ring with Braun Strowman, does they look like David and Goliath? This has an absolute whiff of "don't ever talk to me or my son ever again." But the son in that equation rolls Braun Strowman. Easy kick out. And they get back into a grapple with each other. Chad pushing Braun. Again, as I say, remarkable strength from Chad Gable. Cheap shot. Couple of cheap shots into the corner. Braun gets a big elbow out, and the game absolutely messes up there. Gives Chad an opportunity for a quick cover, but not quite. That's gotta hurt, surely. Braun has somehow made Chad bleed just by crushing his skull. There. That is ridiculous, but a huge shoulder in the corner. Genuinely, the move that just made Chad Gable bleed was Braun planting his hands on either side of Chad Gable's temples, which is absolutely insane. Goes for the cover. Can't go for the road break here, Chad, if he's got any sense of consciousness at this point in time. going on instinct, I think, just kicking out instead. But rope break was there for him. I always find when wrestlers reposition in this game that as soon as they've done that, the other wrestler gets up. Oh, well, I was about to say choke slams, but not choke slams, clotheslines. But Chad Gable's clotheslines on Braun Strowman's are, well, mid-torso? So, not quite the same effect. Braun rolls out. Chad Gable takes the ropes to follow. Does connect. I thought Braun was about to roll in the ring there to absolutely ruin Chad Gable's day. But some surprising athleticism from the big man there to reverse the... Ah, dear. Oh, no. Chad counters. I absolutely thought Chad was going through the announce table there. Well, Chad Gable's removed his... I've nearly said dungarees, but I've forgotten the actual term for that piece of clothing. So if Chad can disrobe, why can't Braun... I mean, he did actually technically connect with Braun Strowman, but I don't think the game registered it there. Chad Gable definitely came off worse. That's... Shouldn't... That... Yeah, I'm not sure that one's physically possible. That is a video game... only situation. Chad Gable has shown that he can pull out his biggest moves on Braun Strowman in the past, but I don't think hurling Braun Strowman with one arm is entirely possible. Yeah, trying to make Braun submit, probably not going to work unless your name is Jacob for 2. And even then, hello. That last man standing match, I think it ended early. I don't think he was meant to be counted out there. I think it just took him an extra split second to get out from under that table, which cost him the match, but Braun wins this one. I think the ref counted a smidge too fast, or Braun was a smidge too slow to get out from under the collapsed table. But we get to see the highlights now, which is nice. This is what I wanted. This never happened. Thank you, 2K, for fixing a lot of things. Also, crucially, you can now do rivalry actions in PLEs, which will make my life a lot easier for Saturday night's main event. It was why... and I apologise for it, why Backlash was a bit tame. I had much bigger ideas for Backlash, but by the time I was setting it all up, I just didn't have time to research and work out the workarounds for that. It was pretty obvious what the workaround is. I just didn't have the time to see if it was actually going to work. So I just had to cut a lot of the surprises for that. Here's all the big moves again, including the final one. That puts down Chad Gable for good here. And there we are. Braun Strowman on top. 2K really need to add in his mid-match disrobing, though. It's not a Braun Strowman match if it ends with his shirt still on. We continue with Femi's attempt to conquest the New Day, who apparently aren't part of the Fixed Titantrons update. We can check them off the list. Apparently a lot of superstars have got updated Trons now. Evidently. Xavier Woods and I presume Kofi Kingston on the opposite side. Not one of them. Also, their outfits need updating as well. Yeah, I'm not going to lie as well. The only reason why I haven't added Kofi Kingston as a manager in this match is I was hoping not to have the trumpet. Kofi came out kind of normally last time out. And that was when I accidentally didn't put Xavier in as manager. This time I deliberately didn't put Kofi in the hopes that I will get a normal entrance for him. No, still has the bloody trumpet. Here we are again. Am I going crazy or is the crowd louder with the whoos? It feels a lot louder. The ruler is here though. Having lost to Kaiser but then put down Kingston, makes his way to the other half of the New Day. New Intercontinental Champion. The rematch clause activated by Bron Breakker. That will be sorted out later today. But if Dom retains, then there's a new title holder. Either way, people are going to be lining up to face Intercontinental in the coming weeks. Yeah, they've definitely changed the audio on the crowd's hooing here. It feels less organic, actually, if I'm honest. But a big right hook to start things off from Femi. Turns Xavier around and they enter a nice little cuddle. Slightly less nice now. All these matches going into immediate chain wrestling. Because that's what it is. That's what's actually happening. You're just obviously not seeing the UI for it. Oh, wild swing. Xavier very much a veteran to see that one coming. And getting some licks in now. Can we cut the camera again just so we can see what's actually going on? Let me know what you think about this. Actually, that's a very surprise roller very early on here. Let me know what you think about the camera cut frequency and all that. I think personally, for an AI versus AI match, it's kind of nobody home for that. Kind of changes things up a bit. Nice change of pace whenever it does do that for me so far. I'm enjoying it, but let me know if you think it's too much or in certain respects. Oba rolls out the ring, but Xavier's already joined him. Effectively predicting Oba's rollout there almost, but tries to work Oba's arm. Oba counters with a big punch to the face and slam to the face, and he'll get a nice little round of elbows in. As is Oba's way. Michael Coe and company predicting that someone's about to go through the table. They're not. But another big right hook. Especially if we're going to keep getting a slugfest like this. It's much better than just watching it from about 3 miles away. Nonetheless, this one's persisting and... Nope, I thought Oba actually had come out on top there, but it's another draw. Crowd absolutely over moon with that though, for whatever reason. Sorry, have we just gone from a slugfest into another slugfest? This is on the lowest frequency possible, I think. It might be on 5. I might need to put it on 0. But I think we have just gone from slugfest to slugfest. Which is incredible. Oh, actually that was a lovely camera angle for that. Into the cover. Someone getting very excited over there. I'll have what he's having. Fall from grace. Into the immediate cover. I've only just kicked out the last one. Oh, he just kicked out this one as well. There appears to be a family of people with the same shirt on the left-hand side of the camera right now. I just can't quite work out what the shirt actually is. Yeah, rolling clothesline. Xavier just positions Oba just to do the cover, I think just to prevent the rope break. Oba kicks out. Actually, that person over there's got the same shirt. I can't work out what it is. Oh. Out of the way Oba gets. Clocks him in the corner. And it's Xavier's turn to roll out. Oba follows him round and... But effectively almost doing the Strowman Express here. Wrong person. And Xavier's not standing up by the time he gets there either. We won't talk about that. Still some kinks to work out, apparently, in AI versus AI. Xavier trying to work his way out of this, is he? Nope. If he was, he's not managed it. Oba fires himself up. Crowd loving that. Off the ropes Oba goes. On to Xavier. On to Xavier. 2 big boots. Into the cover, which ends on a 2 count again. Loving his double kicks at the moment, is Xavier Woods. Quite the, nobody home? It looked like he connected, but they acted like he didn't. Oh. Circumvents the move there to deliver Oba Femi's face into the mat and causing him to bleed, I think. Nobody home again, though. Yeah, you've gone for the double boot too many times there, Xavier. Oba's got wise to it. Maybe not that time. Oba must be thinking at some point he's going to go for something different. Xavier goes for a wonder again. Delivers the flying elbow, diving elbow. Just lifts his shoulder in time. Cheap attack on the lower leg there. I mean, Xavier with all the momentum, Oba's got to do something here. Using Oba's own move against him. Kind of. Oba's rolled out to get a respite, but not going to find one. Although Xavier hurt himself in the process a little bit. Surprising strength, but countered. Although Oba's own move is countered back again. See if we can get somewhere here, Oba, please. Crossbody. I think that will reset the count, though. Which will be a blessing for Oba Femi. Is he going to break out again? No. Should be knees to the gut. No, it did indeed reset the count. Oba really needs to get some momentum up here. Christ. This is very much like when he does cut to commercial and one side just keeps pummeling the other until we get back from commercial. It's usually a good indication of who's not going to win. So if this was a real broadcast right now, my money would be on Oba Femi, but I'm less confident because this might go to count out. Xavier using all the tricks in the books there. But all the big moves here. Early cover on Xavier was got to a 2 count. Must be somewhat annoyed that he didn't put him away then. Especially with the fall from Gross that followed that up. He must have been absolutely gobsmacked. They kicked out of that one, nonetheless. Might be a fair few highlights of this one, actually. Ooh, actually, I didn't notice that in real time. A couple of wild swings that missed. Talked about 2K maybe adjusting wrestlers' competency in judging distances. If Oba had actually connected with those two, because they weren't dodged by Xavier, things could have been slightly more different there with the momentum of that part of the match. It doesn't include the one that they countered there, but that's a shame. Oba's so close to getting back in the ring. Right, the trumpet survived. My sanity hasn't. Things move thick and fast here on Raw as we now welcome two of the lesser spotted tag teams. Seemingly PFC don't have a unified Titantron. But in the absence of their leader, Pure Fusion Collective, its opportunities have been few and far between this year. Without their management, trying to work out their plan of attack has seemingly been that little bit more difficult. Featured relatively heavily in the Royal Rumble, but barely seen since, if at all. Obviously, in real life, this is now early mid-April. In-game, we're now 1st of June, so first week of June. Whether they'll be seen in the run-up to WrestleMania or post-WrestleMania remains to be seen. But the other half of that is Shayna Baszler, whose Twitter handle is, for some reason, Quantum of Solace Baszler. I presume it stands for something different. Without being brutally honest there for a moment, just going to put this, a Queen of Spades, obviously that's what it stands for. But I'm just going to put it out there. Shayna Baszler is rated 84 in the game. First time I've used her in a match, that caught me by surprise. Their opponents also the lesser spotted Katana chances getting the cut, although they have already appeared. This is obviously a cross-brand, but women's tag team, not going to lie, I thought they were t-shirt cannons. But have been seen, both in real life actually, surprisingly, in what was effectively the Secret Service's official debut. But also in universe to both defeats actually, but in universe here against the remaining members of Fate of Influence who are still on NXT. Part of that run for them that got them an opportunity for the tag team titles. But women's tag team division's title opportunities haven't been all that great. So, just speaking brutally honestly, WWE needs to promote a lot more women now. Having added mid-cards for the women's division, they need to add a lot more women. Because presumably a lot of the women that would have been in the mid-card picture are now no longer in the tag team picture, and or vice versa. Like, obviously people like Piper and even Chelsea Green were a kind of tag team. Now Chelsea's a title winner and Piper's in her retinue, along with Alba Fire now. So now they're kind of a tag team, but they're also in the mid-card picture. So I think WWE needs to promote a lot of women from NXT in the draft, because the women's divisions are quite bare bones. Particularly in the upper card picture now as well. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, moving Rhea to SmackDown has very much affected the SmackDown Women's Tag Championship. World Women's Championship. But we'll get there in due course. Of course, Bayley, one of those people, whilst has her sights on Roxanne's Intercontinental title right now, one of the few people on SmackDown who probably has legitimate claims to challenge for the main title. Very much letting a personal feud and an opportunity to effectively finish the sticker book. Intercontinental title brand new, something that she doesn't have in her collection yet. Opportunity to be the first person to have won both titles. Nonetheless, anyway, we've got action before us here, as Katana and Zoey are the legal pair. Kayden somewhat knocked out there, and the game's got very confused because they were both in the same place at the same time, which is going to give Zoey... What on earth is going on? Get in the ring. Yeah, the game absolutely had a fumble, but Shayna tagged in at last. Katana attempts to drag Shayna, but that's not going to work, and a series of attacks can follow. Nonetheless, Katana sprightly in to deliver some punishment back at Shayna. Brings in the slightly more equally matched physically Kayden Carter into their corner. Shayna's dragged, and we can see a bit of double team action. That very much sounded like something broke. I did not enjoy that squelch. Shayna attempts to get a measure of control back on this, but fails. Air tag made by... This happened in the Fatal Influence match. They've somehow managed to absolutely botch the connection between Kayden and Katana whenever they tag in. Watch out for it, because it happens. In fact, I've seen signs in the crowd that say Zoey is so strong, Katana is the toughest warrior. Apparently, all the fans think all the people involved in this are strong in some way, shape or other. Oh, wow. Almost felt like Shayna's back could have snapped from that, but both sides tagged in. And Zoey gets to work. But yeah, as I say, with opportunities few and far between, both teams here angling for an attempt on Lyra Raquel's Tag Team Championship, having to cross brands to make it work. Katana gears herself up for... Oh, bless. It felt like such a big move, but by the time that double kick landed, it felt a bit tame. Is that the first cutaway? Oh, dear. Katana very much does not have the size advantage in any matchup, does she? She was behind the top rope there, and she was barely taller than it. It did feel a little bit sad. And now I feel a bit of pity, because that's a knee to the face. And Zoey's ready for something. And connects. Kayden will break this up. But Zoey's still... Her turn to beckon. And deliver. See, that's a much more effective double boot. Katana manages to get a hot tag in, though, and... Well... Things aren't going much better. Shayna's tugged in, though. Kind of, I guess, equal opportunities from Zoey there. She was more than ready to keep going, I think. Shayna goes for the cover. I think pretty soon Katana's laid out on the outside of the ring. I don't think that was a powerful enough move to put her down, though. And unsurprisingly, this match continues. People are really loving the double boot in today's Raw. And indeed, a big knee to the face. Zoey just bides her time before kicking Kayden in the face. Katana can crush any obstacle. Dear 2K, let the wrestlers judge distances better. I said it before, I'll say it again. Zoey putting the work in now, though. Taste of the ropes. Katana will attempt to meddle. Bless her. And fail. I suddenly feel very protective of Katana chance. Kayden taking all the punishment, though, it feels like. And yeah, Katana's not interfered yet, so it's allowed that breakup. And gives Kayden the opportunity to get in and roll up herself. Zoey kicks out. Once again, tag match. Impressive. Kayden's got it. Shayna breaks that up, though. Blimey. Tell you what, the cutaway there really effective because Shayna was well out of the shot there and effectively came out of nowhere. Kayden's got her again, though, this time. Zoey, can she do something? No. Can't break this one up either. Doesn't need to. Zoey kicks out and that's got her smart. Using one of the bigger moves of her repertoire. And once again, I think maybe about to try and do the double team. Kayden tries to roll away and prevents the pin, though, in the process, of course. It gives Shayna an opportunity to come in. A fresher Shayna Baszler against a now tired Kayden Carter. She's going to go for Katana. The game not quite understanding how to get rid of Katana, I think. Kayden's been thrown back in the ring and Katana's laid out on the outside. Shayna can have her way with Kayden, unimpeded. However, that requires her to actually not waste her time and opportunity. In comes Zoey, maybe to finish things off. Imagine Katana chances back on the ropes again by now. That window of opportunity. Not that I don't think she could have broken up anyway. vanished. Goes for a frog splash behind the... thank you for the cut there. Ref gets in the way. PFC victorious, but I have to talk about the ref there. They were in the way of the normal shot for the pin, and what the... oh, hello. Well, we've not seen them since they were injured. And of course, it was PFC that injured Kairi Sane. World heavyweight now. Without his coat. Please, 2K, put them in their entrance outfits, not their ring outfits. Please, please. But Gunther takes to the ring to call out the OTC. Gunther, in this universe, is still champion. I'm pretty certain he's going to lose it in real life now. But is still champion and finally has a worthy opponent in the Tribal Chief, in his eyes. When I started this storyline, I was pretty certain he was going to put down Jey Uso, but I'm not certain anymore. But nonetheless, he remains here, having dealt with a challenge that he felt was way beneath him. And now, calls him to a match. Saturday night's main event coming up. Title match. It'll be a title match. See it? We'll see these two on Saturday then. Gunther weirdly pumped for that, actually. Well, on an eventful night, we finish things off with the Intercontinental titles rematch clause triggered as Dom and Bron go head-to-head once again. This time, of course, Bron the challenger, though. Crowd's reaction is mixed there. Safe to say. Doublet, that's what it's called. Or singlet. Actually, I'm not sure which way around it is. But to the ring, Bron Breakker comes. The dogs are ready to try and reclaim. It'd be great if he had a little bit more of that energy mid-match. I can't remember it doing that too much in the original match, particularly after he lands a big move. And Dom by himself was ringside for Liv's match at the start of today's proceedings. He very much booed. Liv, of course, somewhat tired out from her adventure earlier on. Raquel by her side, helping her recuperate. So Dom will challenge alone, just as he effectively did the first time round. Well, Liv was there for that, but it was a clean victory. There were no shenanigans involved in claiming the title in the first place. Dom parading that Intercontinental title around. Still think it's dumb that the opposing party just stands outside the ring with a blank expression on their face. Bron Breakker, challenger. Dethroned. Now trying to reclaim. And the man who beat him, Dirty Dominik Mysterio. Who, ever the favourite with the crowd. Crikey. Quite the booing. But yes, the IC title is on the line, naturally. Bron Breakker having a good look at the gold that he lost. Things get underway. Bron hot out the gates. That's not the phrase. Quick out the gates, that's the one. Done with a quick springboard crossbody and moonsault. Hang on, what was that exactly? Did he just kick his ears or something? Scrape his face? That's an unconventional-ish roll up there. Fails. Bron taking a boot to the... not quite the ghoulies, but nearby. A knee to the back of the neck's going to hurt as well. Where are we going with this, Dom? Why are you beckoning Bron Breakker to the top rope? He puts him. If the roles had been reversed, I would have been wary of a Frankensteiner, but it's Dom. With the superplex. Bron's tried to run away, but Dom's followed him. Bron not actually going to get a respite here, but will get on the counter. Dropping Dom's face onto the ringside. Counter, of course, won't help Bron Breakker here. Working Dom's leg. Not a bad tactic on a high flyer like Dom. Not that Bron really needs pointers. Over the ropes. Resets the count, though, in the process, which will help Dom. Although it won't have mattered anyway. As I say. Champion's advantage. Can't win by count out. Lifted Dom up. Dom needs to get back in this and seems to be getting a measure back, perhaps. Yes, fights out of that one. And he's back in the ring. Yeah, not the time for that, Dom. Time and the place, time and the place. Into the ref Dom goes, which actually weirdly worked out for Bron Breakker, even though that wasn't what he was trying to do. Dangling him over the ropes, and the shoulders have come off the singlet. There we go. If 2K can code Chad Gable and Bron Breakker to do that, they can definitely code Braun Strowman ripping his shirt off. Spear! Oh, with the spear laying out Dominik Mysterio. Bron could capitalise, but distracted by Ludwig Kaiser turning up in the ring. Well, he has turned up in the ring, but not from the side everyone was expecting. Sneaks back out again before the ref can react, but I'm sure he can put 2 and 2 together here, seeing Ludwig Kaiser walk away and a chair in the ring. Only a 1 count, though, on the actual pin, because Dominik was out of it as well. He had to recover at the same time. Well, considering Bron was on his feet, and then he wasn't on his feet, but he's on his knees right now for the aforementioned 619. We talked about it earlier on in Liv's match. Maybe foolishly beckoning Bron Breakker to his feet now, but does plant his own 2 in Bron Breakker's face. Following the 619 as well, this could be enough. Bron Breakker, incredibly resilient though. Took a chair, a 619, and then 2 big boosts to the face. But Dom is taken to the top ropes, and I would bet money on Frog Splash. Nobody home. I'll be about to get... Well, cut. Let's talk about that one better probably. But I was about to praise Dominik Mysterio for cutting off what might have been another spear attempt to the pass, but absolutely wildly misses in the follow-up with Bron Breakker having rolled out the ring. Into a slugfest we go. And actually, to my surprise, Dominik Mysterio wins a slugfest with Bron Breakker. Perhaps Bron is a little bit dazed and confused following the that's the frog splash, and an unconventional one at that, but somewhat awkwardly landed, but still kicks out of that. Like I say, Bron Breakker dazed and confused maybe from the chair attack, but not enough he still hasn't lost his senses. And still kicks out, back into another slugfest though. On top of this one? No. This one going a little bit more even. No, again, Dom on top. Kick to the face. I mean, to be fair, Dom must be wondering what he's got to do to put down Bron Breakker this time. He achieved it already. He's managed to achieve it again now, thanks to a 3rd frog splash. First one, nobody home. Second one landed. Third one did the job. I mean, it wasn't the 3 amigos, but it was eventually 3 of his best. Heck of a superplex here, though. That was impressive from Dom. Less impressive was just letting Bron do that, though. All this. But the shoulders came off and the spear came out. But so did Ludwig Kaiser, which weirdly doesn't show up in the replay. Just the following removal. 619 set up. And connected. That's when he should have done the shoulder shimmy. That wasn't enough to put Bron down. That frog splash wasn't enough to put Bron down. But Ludwig Kaiser, because I very much doubt on Dom's orders. His own gain, I imagine? We'll probably find out soon. Dom retains, but with a little help from a friend? I very much doubt Kaiser's part of Judgment Day. Probably just working for mutual benefit. I'm not even sure Dom knew he was coming. Dom being very vocal about the fact he won that title clean in the first place. I very much doubt he'd employ someone to retain it uncleanly. So, Dom retains for now. There we go, though. Another Raw down, and rematch clause burned up Bron Breakker there, so he's going to have to go through the proper methods to get another opportunity at Dominik's Intercontinental Championship if he wants to get that one back. The wildcard Ludwig Kaiser making a statement of some kind. We don't quite know what yet. We'll probably find out in due course. It is Ludwig Kaiser. He does like to talk. I imagine it won't be too long before we find out what the motivations were there. Also, Asuka and Kairi Sane, the Kabuki Warriors, return to exact a minor measure of vengeance on the PFC, what remains of the PFC at least. We'll see how that one spins out as well. But thank you for joining me. If you have enjoyed this, do like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal. Bye now. Until next time. Ta-ra.